Hello, welcome to Save U.S. Taxes Legally. I call it the secret of the rich because very few people have ever learned about the Spendthrift Trust. I want to teach as many U.S. investors, U.S. business owners, U.S. entrepreneurs, U.S. franchise owners, and 1099 incomes how they can save taxes legally. The Spendthrift Trust is legal. It's in the IRS Tax Code 643B, and it's been in front of the United States Supreme Court on two separate occasions and won both times. So let's get this started. In chat, either put yes or no. Question number one: do you want to save taxes year after year and leave a legacy for future generations? In the chat, yes or no. Question number two: do you want to keep all your information 100% private? Do you realize 40% of all LLCs, S Corps, and C Corps can get sued every single year? Again, in the chat, please put yes or no. Question number three: do you want all lawsuits to become frivolous and go away? I can't stop you from being sued, but if someone tries to sue you, all your assets are in the titanium vault and they can only go after the money in your wallet. Today, I have $6. Again, in the chat, put yes or no. I believe every U.S. investor, U.S. business owner, U.S. entrepreneur, U.S. franchisee owner, and U.S. 1099 income earner needs to know the secret of the rich. I believe, since I learned the secret of the rich, it is my honor and my duty to teach it to as many people as possible. I also believe that the playing field must be equal for every business owner. Amazon gets free land. My brother lost his brewery because the rents went too high. So let's get this started. I'm going to share my screen. The Spendthrift Trust is going to save you federal and state income taxes, keep your information completely private, and again, if you get sued, all lawsuits become frivolous. Now, when you talk to your CPA or financial advisor, I can almost guarantee you they are going to bring up the IRS memo dated August 3rd of 2023. The IRS specifically said they do not like Tax Code 643B, and they do not like the Irrevocable Complex Discretionary Non-Grantor Spendthrift Trust. It's their opinion. Remember, this is in Tax Code 643B. Tax Code trumps memos every single time. And the IRS can't change the tax code, only Congress can. If you remember 13 years ago when Hillary Clinton was debating Donald Trump and she accused him of not paying taxes, and he said because he was smart, he's a trust baby. Both he and his father, Frank Trump, got sued in 1972 by the city of New York. Frank Trump said he'll never be sued again, and he started both the Beneficial and Business Spendthrift Trusts. It goes from generation to generation. Now let's go over these 5 elements that you need. Irrevocable means it goes from generation to generation. The Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust is 7 generations old and has 400 people under the same EIN or employee identification number. Each separate family files a separate 1041 tax return, and there is no mingling of the money. Complex. This trust can hold money from day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year, decade to decade, century to century. The law firm I work on behalf of inherited a trust that turned 350 years old in 2023. We're now in 2026, so it's 353 years old. This is contract law that comes from England way back when King Henry VIII started the Church of England. He went to go tax the lords and ladies of England, and they went back to the 13th century to the Magna Carta and said, oh, no, 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 King Henry VIII, this is contract law. You can't tax us. When our current tax structure went into effect, February of 1913, it was supposed to be around for only a few years, but we got involved in World War I. The super rich families of 1913, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Carnegies, and the Kennedys, made sure they could save taxes. Well, if they can save taxes, we can save taxes. So this is a complex. 97% of the trusts sold every year in the United States are what my mom and dad had. The family trust or the living trust. Susie Orman talks about this on television. There's nothing wrong with the family trust or the living trust. It avoids probate and then it dissolves. It doesn't save you taxes. It doesn't keep your information completely private. and it doesn't stop all lawsuits from happening. The next one, discretionary. Whoever is the trustee or trustees can make the rules for the beneficiaries. They can decide who gets what money, how much they get, when they get it. And then when they pass away, there's no contesting the will or infighting or anything else. This is a true story. My clients, a husband and wife who have 4 apartment buildings in Los Angeles. Their adult daughter gets to live in one of the apartments rent free, but they're requiring her to pass 4 random drug tests per month. She has a problem. She actually took her mom and dad to federal court to sue them, to say it was unconstitutional. The judge read over the trust and he said to her she had 2 options. First option, move out, start paying her own rent. Or option B, stay in the apartment and pass the drug tests. I do not want to be invited to their house for dinner. Non-Grantor. This is not a speed bump. You will have someone who will never ever be a beneficiary and who will never ever be a trustee sign up to be the grantor or the settlor of the trust. They will sign themselves up and then they will sign themselves away. This makes the trust 100% private. You will need their social security number. When my mom and dad started the Gimmon Family Trust, real original name, both my mom and dad were the grantors or the settlers of the trust, and when they both passed away, that trust dissolved. If you can't find anyone to be the non-grantor, I have done this for many of my clients. I just signed 2 pieces of paperwork and make sure you have copies of that. And then the 5th element, the spendthrift, has been in front of the United States Supreme Court on 2 separate occasions, and it's won both times. You can't get more legal than this. So let's go to the next page. Now, I know we're in 2026, but I want to show you something that they did in 2025. There's 4 ways to file your taxes. The most expensive way is single, then it's head of household, then it's married filing separately, and then the cheapest way is married filing jointly. Very quietly, on January 1st of 2025, look what they did with married filing separately. They matched the single all the way up to 35% tax bracket. If you get nothing else from this conversation, if you are married, please file jointly. Just to give you an idea, at 24%, if you're filing separately, your tax bracket starts at $103,351 versus $206,701, almost double the price. So that's 2026 tax bracket. This is 2026 tax bracket. Now, I had several clients that started the trust back in October, and we did not have the 2026 tax brackets yet. I do not remember what Trump's major, the big beautiful bill or whatever. Of my 5 clients that I ran numbers for 2026, the largest amount that they got to save was $212 over the whole 6 months. I'm not sneezing at $212, but that's over 6 months. That's not very much money. They're saving so much more money with having either the business or the beneficial spendthrift trust. And again, check this out. Married filing separately again is the same all the way down to 35%. So let's go to the next page. Now, just to give you an idea, I did a webinar in Arizona. I was showing them that if someone makes $100,000 gross, they will save 90% in federal income taxes at least, and then no longer pay state income taxes. My true story, I started my trust in September of 2020. Full year of 2021, I saved 92% in 2021, 2022, and 2023. Last year, in 2024, I got to save 94% in federal income taxes and not pay North Carolina's state income taxes. I paid 6% federal taxes to the federal government happily. That was a requirement. So in Arizona, if you're single or married filing separately, making $100,000, you would save $17,847 for the full year. This is 2025 numbers. Head of household, it'd be $16,321. In married filing jointly, it'd be $13,371. If you make more than $100,000 per year gross, you would save more than that. This is just to give you an idea. This is a true story. This gentleman contacted me January 3rd of 2025. He was in the military. He works for a defense contractor as a 1099 income earner. He drives a 10-year-old car. He lives in an apartment with 2 roommates. And he knew in 2024 he made $150,000 and he was planning on making more than that in 2025. So he's single ladies, we used $150,000 at 24% tax bracket. Saving 90% would save him $25,962 for the whole year. On top of that, 5.75% state income taxes in Virginia is an additional $8,625. For the full year, he would save $34,587. He started the trust on January 5th. If he didn't start this trust until later in the year, he would save $2,009 per month on federal and state income taxes. You could use this money to put back into your business, to pay off your mortgage, to buy a new vehicle, to take your family on a great vacation, give to your favorite charity, or save retirement. This gentleman is single. He plans to take his $34,587 and put it as a down payment on a house in Northern Virginia this year. Congratulations to him. Now, my personal story. I became a real estate investor in late 2018 when my mom got sick. My watershed month was October 2018. Three major things happened for me. I'm living in Phoenix, working as a Medicare broker. My oldest nephew's getting married in Charlotte, North Carolina. I had the time saved up, and I requested the Friday before the wedding and the Monday after the wedding to have off, and they said no. Open enrollment, just so you know, is October 7th through December 5th. Anyone can change their Medicare plan, and I was a Medicare broker. Second thing that happened, my brand new 3-week-old car, a 2018 Hyundai Veloster with a moonroof, you need that in Phoenix at night. I'm going to be there at 7 o'clock in the morning on a major east-west road, Indian School. I'm the second car through on a green light when some bozo runs the red light and T-bones me on my passenger side. Mr. Bozo had no insurance. I did have uninsured motorist coverage of $25,000, but I was upside down on my auto loan and had to get a second auto loan. I went from being comfortable to eating ramen noodles twice a week like I did in college. I'm 53 years old. This is completely wrong. Third thing that happened, my mom and dad, who lived in Goodyear, Arizona, 25 miles west of Phoenix on I-10, drove from Goodyear to Charlotte for the wedding. They were supposed to be gone for 2 weeks. Thursday before the wedding, my dad calls me to say my mom's in the emergency room. He's not sure what's wrong. Do not change my flight. Still come in on a red eye at 7:20 on Saturday, the wedding day, and we'll have a conversation. I worked until 8 o'clock at night. I drove myself to Sky Harbor Airport. I flew out. I landed at 7:20 in the morning. My nephew was getting married, and his younger brother and my dad were there. The two guys went back to the house. My dad takes me to the hospital to see my mom, and I walked in on the priest giving my mom last rites. It was a surreal moment. I did not know she was that sick. It ended up she had septic of the blood or blood poisoning. It got into her pacemaker. They had to do open heart surgery, take out the old pacemaker and put in a new pacemaker. She was on the ventilator for 13 months, in a hospital 15 months, and thank God she got better and came home. My dad stayed with her for 9 months in the Charlotte area. I'm going out to their house every weekend to do the mail because he only had planned to be gone for 2 weeks. First week of Christmas, there was a letter that was 27 pages thick. It was my mom's Medicare statement for going to the emergency room and 1 month on a ventilator. It was $72,000. My dad, who was retired military, they had TRICARE for life. Everything was being done for her. I'm standing in my mom and dad's kitchen. I have a $10,000 deductible. When my accident happened in October, I asked everyone not to call an ambulance because I couldn't afford it. I have 2 car payments, 1 car. I have student loans because I went to graduate school. I hate my job. I have student loans, and I need to change my life. Right then and there, I called my friend Glenn, who had invited me to a real estate meeting in August of 2018, and I told him I had to put it on hold until open enrollment was over with. Glenn answers, he's like, Sally, next Saturday, we're having a Christmas potluck dinner. Get a $5 gift and bring some food and show up at this address at 6 o'clock in the evening. I'm like, okay, I know Rhonda and Glenn, this should be fun. Ha ha ha. They went to a Christmas pageant and they were going to be there until 9 o'clock that night. I pulled up my big girl pants. I went to the party and had a great time. I just met regular people who were doing fantastic things with real estate. My mentor taught me how to do bank-owned houses. In 2019, I wholesaled 7 bank-owned houses nationwide. I paid off $184,000 in debt, completely debt-free. Woohoo! I'm a rock star in my real estate group, and I have $50,000 in my bank account for short-term capital gains. My mom had to cancel a St. Patrick's Day party. My mom, who's from Ireland, on March 17th of 2020 because of COVID. I had 3 notes that didn't pay me on April 1st of 2020 because, hey, the Bank of Sally is the same as Bank of America. Nuh-uh, but I had to foreclose on them. And on April 4th, 2020, my CPA called me to say, congratulations, Sally. You made so much money in 2019. My tax bracket went from 22% up to 24%, and I owed $94,000 in short-term capital gains. Congratulations. Are you crazy? So my solution, a fantastic book to read, is The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. I go to bed that night crying because where am I going to get an extra $24,000? I just canceled. I'm no longer working. I thought I could do this real estate thing so easily, and everything shut down. I woke up the next morning. I knew I had about the Rockefellers Spendthrift Trust. I had read an article about them. I started researching it, and I also took a HELOC off my paid-off house. Completely defeats the purpose of being paid off. It took me 5 months, and in September of 2020, I started both my business trust and my beneficial trust, and started teaching a mastermind in my real estate group in Arizona. I purposely bought this house during COVID because my mom was, it's in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. It's a bank-owned reverse mortgage that I bought for $20,000 July 2020 that I knew was going to go to auction for $50,000. That $30,000 spread in between at 24% tax rate would be $7,140. It didn't go to auction until August 28th of 2021. The final bid, yay Sally, was $64,326. I made, without lifting a hammer, $44,326. More importantly, because I had the Spendthrift Trust, I got to save over $10,000 in short-term capital gains I just put back into more real estate. That's the power of the Spendthrift Trust. Now, with the Beneficial Spendthrift Trust, you're going to save short-term and long-term capital gains. Short-term capital gains are when you wholesale, you fix and flip, do tax liens, auction houses, you sell crypto, you do options trading, or you're a forex investor. Interest income taxes are when you are a passive investor. You're in mutual funds, you're in a REIT, you're doing subject to real estate, the BRRRR strategy. I have notes where I'm the paper on the house, people pay me their mortgage. Creative financing, seller financing, and again, forex investors, you get taxed double. You'll no longer pay dividend income taxes. If you're in the stock market, you're a day trader, you're a futures trader, a commodities trader, or you're living on dividends. You'll no longer pay rental income taxes if you have short-term rentals like Airbnb, vacation rentals, 5 doors, 10 doors, 20 doors, 100 doors. Maybe you're multifamily, you're in apartment buildings, commercial property, or you're doing Airbnb arbitrage. The only thing that's not on here is royalty income taxes. They're taxed a little bit less, 7 different layers, but between 10% to 35%. And that affects you if you're an actor, an actress, a musician, an author, an artist, you're in NFTs, maybe you have copyrights, patents, or intellectual property, you will no longer get to pay those. Now, long-term capital gains are either 15 or 20% when you sell your business, sell an investment property, or a baseball card. This was an actual client of mine who was selling a restaurant as is. He and his brother, Jim and his brothers, built this restaurant in 1984. Everything was being sold as is for $3 million. Their son saw my TikTok video. Jim had never been on Zoom. He asked me to talk to his business broker to change the name. Sam, the business broker, is like, wow, I'm going to make $30,000 on this deal, and I have 4 other deals coming up. I need the business trust. I told Sam about my affiliate program. Sam tells Michael, the gentleman who's buying this family restaurant, it's his 7th restaurant in 3 different states. Michael was like, how much can you save me? So Sam made an extra $1,000, and Jim and his wife, Susan, got to save at 15%, $450,000 in capital gains they'll never have to pay back, or at 20%, $600,000 in long-term capital gains. Susan knew about the trust. She didn't know how much they would be saving. She called me to say thank you because if one of them gets cancer or has a heart attack, they have money to pay for everything. Now, IRMA is something that happens when you are on Medicare. You're 65 or older, or you might be on Medicare because you have a long-term disability. I only have 2025 numbers at this time. They add everything together. If you're single, it's $106,000. So if you security payments, pensions, wages, 401k withdrawals, SIP withdrawals, capital gains, interest income taxes, dividend income taxes, um, rental income taxes, and royalty income taxes. Every October, the IRS goes back 2 years to tax returns, 1040 tax returns 2 years earlier. So October 2025, they went back to 2023 tax returns. If you're single and made more than $106,000, or if you were married and made more than $212,000, they put the IRMA surcharge on parts B and D of Medicare. One of my clients, husband and wife, he was 70, she was 68. They started the trust because they wanted to save dividend income taxes. He was unaware that they were paying over $800 a piece per month for Medicare. When I started talking about IRMA, his wife knew exactly how much they were paying, and I said I could take everything out except for the $185. Everybody in the United States in 2025 paid $185. She's like, if you're going to save us over $600 a month in IRMA surcharges, she's like, we need to start this trust as soon as possible. So they got to save dividend income taxes and IRMA surcharges on their premiums. Now, I just went over this very quickly. If you want to set up a 30-minute tax breakthrough session with me, it's www.thetrustisyou.com scheduling. If you want to find out about my free affiliate program, it's www.thetrustisyou.com affiliate. And then I have a free class on the Great Discovery. When you go to www.sallygimmon.com, you're going to go out to the Great Discovery, sign up as a free learner, do not pay for anything. The class on the Great Discovery is called Save U.S. Taxes. You're going to get a presentation like this. You're going to get 3 articles from Forbes magazine. I did not write. You're going to get 2 pages of case law so you can research this to your heart's content and make sure it's legal. And you're going to get examples of clients saving thousands of dollars. Also on the Great Discovery, if English is not your first language, you can translate my class into 165 different classes. I'm going to stop recording this right now. I'm going to open this up for any questions. So let me stop recording.